There's a lot of misinformation online about electric vehicles. If you read the comments section, people make the most ridiculous claims, such as you can't drive more than 300 miles a day in an electric car, which is just patently false. I'm about to leave on a 2,000-mile road trip from Northwest Ohio to the Las Vegas, Nevada area, and it's now Wednesday morning. It's 8:36 in the morning Eastern time, and I expect to get there on Friday afternoon. Um, the car is fully charged. It's showing 287 miles of range, which is a little bit high because I've been riding around town, so it's kind of skewed the estimator probably 20 or 30 miles higher than the range that I'm actually going to be experiencing. So I'm going to take you along for the ride and show you the way that I do it. Some cars have built-in navigation that will plot out your entire route and tell you all the charging stops, where you need to charge, how long you need to charge, that sort of thing. This particular car doesn't do that, so I'll be using a couple different apps on my phone, PlugShare, Electrify America, ChargePoint, and EVgo to plot out my route and decide where I'm going to be stopping. I've opened the Electrify America app and I want to go to Terre Haute as my first stop, so I'm going to click on Terre Haute, ask for directions. It's telling me it's 250 miles, but I don't want to go that way. There is a shorter route, so I'm going to add a stop. I'm going to add Muncie, Indiana to this. M-U-N-C-I-E, Muncie, Indiana. Now it's 233 miles, and that's the way I want to go. Taking more secondary roads. 98 miles to Muncie. Hit the start button. I've got Android Auto on my car. It is a wired setup, so I've got to plug it in. So it's loaded up the map for Terre Haute with a stop at Muncie, which shortens the distance by about 20 miles or so. Okay, the car is showing 287 miles of range. That's a little optimistic, I think. I've zeroed out the trip odometer, and we're all set to go. It's currently 8:44 Wednesday morning. Now it's actually showing 307 miles of range, which is way optimistic. And it does that because I've been driving around town where the efficiency is greater. This is Wapakoneta, Ohio, hometown of, can you guess? One small step for man. Here you go. First man on the moon, Wapakoneta. We're 57 miles into the trip, about an hour and a half, I think, a little less than an hour and a half, and I've stopped in Indiana for a little drink and to use the restroom. We may have to change our plans because we've still got 155 miles to Terre Haute, and my range estimator is now estimating only 163 miles of range. And the reason that's dropped so much is a couple of reasons. One is because I've had a headwind all morning, and the second is because I've turned the air conditioning on, which has also reduced range. So we may have to stop in Indianapolis, but I'm flexible, so we can do that. What are the current wind conditions in Muncie, Indiana?
In Muncie right now, the wind is blowing at 9 miles per hour from the west.
I'm now 100 miles from Terre Haute, and my range indicator, or estimator I should say, is showing 125 miles. So I've got a 25-mile buffer. I've been averaging 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is very good. So I think I'm going to skip Indianapolis and just head to Terre Haute, which was my initial plan. Well, we made it to the charging station in Terre Haute. A total of 236 miles just about, with 41 miles to spare. It was really a good trip. I was averaging 4.6 miles per kilowatt hour, and that was with a headwind. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Now I got to plug the car in and get charging. I'm at the charging station in Terre Haute at the Electrify America. I've opened up the Electrify America app, and what you do is you pick the charger you want, and you can either swipe and then plug in, or plug in and then swipe. I'm going to plug in and then swipe. 50 kilowatts, that's about what the car can take. It can actually take 55, so we're pretty close to that. 55 minutes to 80%. What are we at right now? 14%? Something like that. I'll check back with you later. While I'm sitting here charging, I'm looking at the Electrify America app and trying to figure out where I want to stop next. I think it's going to be just east of St. Louis, which is 100, it says 153 miles, but when you actually map it out, it's probably more like 163, but that's okay. Let's see. The next one would be Sullivan, Missouri, which is a little bit too far. So we will go to Collinsville. Just east of St. Louis, and let's see how many miles that is. 162. So I only need
Head south toward Bill Farr Drive.
I only need probably an 80% charge, something like that. But if I go a little longer because I'm eating, then I go a little longer. It really doesn't matter. While I'm out of the car, the Electrify America app will actually show me the state of charge. Right here it's showing 28%. It's actually 32%, so it's a little laggy, but it's pretty close. While the car is charging, Major is going for a walk. It's 162 miles to the next charging station, and I've got an estimated 198 miles of range, so I've got more than enough to make it there. But I've just started eating. So I'm going to be here probably another 10 minutes eating. And even with a slow charging car like mine, that's usually not a problem, because I'm usually doing other things. I just got done eating. I went inside, used the restroom one more time, and the car is now at 88%, which is 244 estimated miles. Way more than I need, but I was busy, so it overcharged a little bit. No problem. $65 minutes, $15.26. Okay, we made it to the Electrify America chargers in Collinsville, Illinois. It's 4:10 Central Time, We've got 397 miles on the odometer, 73 miles left, and we're still doing 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is very good. I'm going to go plug the car in now. Okay, I'm here in Collinsville. I was trying to make it down to Joplin as the next stop, but unfortunately that's almost 300 miles, so I can't do that. So I'm going to have to make a stop in Lebanon, Missouri, which is 176 miles. So I've got to charge probably to about 80% or something like that. Charge a little bit in Lebanon and then go down to Joplin where there's some less expensive charging. I just unplugged. We've got about 81% charge, 220 miles of range. We only need 176 miles to make it to Lebanon, Missouri. I just had enough time to take the dog for a walk, feed him, go into Walmart, and have a little snack, and that was it. One of the things you need to keep an eye on is your range in relation to the amount of miles that you need to go to the next charger. Right now this is showing 64 miles, and I've got an estimated 85 miles of range. So that's only about 20 miles, and you may need to adjust your speed if that drops too low. I'm here at the charger in Lebanon, Missouri. So far we put on 573 miles, averaging 4.4 kilowatts, or 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour, and we've got 23 miles of range left. It is 8 p.m. I'm going to go plug in now. I just fired up the Electrify America app, and we are charging. Took about 20 seconds. And it's ramping up. 30, 40, 50 kilowatts. That's about it. It might go a little bit higher, but that's about it. We're at 9%. 9% on the battery. Who wants to go for a walk? You want to go for a walk? Yeah. Really? You do? Yeah. Okay. Well, let me get you. Let me get you all ready, and we'll go for a little walk here in Lebanon, Missouri. Charger's humming away. I just want to get enough juice here in Lebanon to get me down to Joplin, because the charge point charger there is about 20 cents cheaper per kilowatt hour. Well, it's 13 cents a kilowatt hour. This is 31 cents a kilowatt hour, I believe. So we just want to get down there and then juice up quite a bit down in Joplin. I'm just finishing up the charging here in Lebanon, Missouri. It's showing 157 miles of range, and we've got 116 miles to get to the chargers in Joplin, which should give us plenty of leeway there. And we are at, I don't know if you can see that, we are at 60% state of charge. We've been here about 40 minutes. So I'm going to cut off the charger now. It is 10:40 p.m. Central Time, and we have made it to the charger, as you can see, in Joplin, Missouri. So far today we put on 689 miles, been averaging 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is very good. We got here with 33 miles to spare. So I'm going to plug in now and start charging. This is really inexpensive here, so I'm probably going to charge maybe even to 100%, but pretty close to that, because it's about 18 cents a kilowatt hour cheaper than Electrify America. I'm at the charger, the charge point charger in Joplin, Missouri, And there's a couple ways that you can start it. You can either use your card. Well, first of all, you have to have an account. You can't just come up here and use it. You got to have a ChargePoint account, and you can either tap your ChargePoint card on the reader, or you can use the app and hit the start charge. I'm going to hit the start charge and see if that works. Usually I take my little card and I tap it to the front of the charger. I've never done it through the app, so we'll see if this works. It says contacting station. If it doesn't work, I'll just get out and use my card. Failed to start session. Okay, I'm going to use my card. Okay, the ChargePoint session didn't start when I pushed the start charge button, but I think I needed to actually tap my phone to the screen because it says just tap your phone on the station. So maybe that was my fault. Who knows? I usually use my card, and now it is starting up. I just finished charging at the ChargePoint unit in Joplin. I was here 69 minutes, charged to 90%, and it cost me $6.60, which is much less than it would have cost me at Electrify America. I'm on my way to Bristow, Oklahoma to Electrify America. It's about 150 miles from Joplin. I could have shut down in Joplin, but I really wasn't tired enough, so I'm going to drive to Oklahoma, to Bristow, and I should be there probably about 2 a.m., charge the car, and then sleep for a few hours. We made it to Electrify America in Bristow, Oklahoma. We've put on 836 miles, averaging 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour, and we arrived with a surplus of 52 miles. I'm going to charge the car probably close to all the way here to full and get some sleep here because it is now 2:26 in the morning. I just got done charging here in Bristow. I fell asleep, so it charged to 94%, and then I woke up and shut it off. It was 68 minutes, $15.09. Now I'm going to go back to sleep. Bye. It's Thursday morning, 6:45 a.m. in Bristow, Oklahoma, day number 2 on the road. I could go down to McDonald's and have breakfast, but typically what I do is I start my day and the first charging stop is where I eat breakfast, so I'm not wasting a lot of time. So I kind of kill two birds with one stone. I think there is a Subway in Weatherford, Oklahoma at the Walmart and the Electrify America where we'll be stopping. It's about 145 miles from here, so I think that's what I'm going to do, unless I see something better along the way. I just stopped at Carl's Jr. to get a breakfast burrito, but I'm not going to eat it till I get to the charger in the interest of saving time. I'm at the Electrify America station in Weatherford, Oklahoma, ready to charge. The issue here is that if you've got Verizon phone service, there's no internet here. And in order to use the charger, I've got to use the internet. So what I've got to do is turn on my Wi-Fi, hook up to Walmart's Wi-Fi in order to use the charger. I've asked Electrify America about supplying a card, so in a case like this, you could just tap the card to the charger. They said they're working on it, but for the time being, got to use the Wi-Fi. All right, you ready? Alright, watch your tail. I just finished charging here in Weatherford, Oklahoma. I was here 51 minutes and it cost $12.90. I could have charged, I charged at 81%, which was more than I needed, or I could have charged to 100% and probably made it to Amarillo, but I didn't want to wait that long, so I just disconnected, and I'll stop in Eric, Oklahoma, give us some charge, and then head on to Amarillo. Charging the car in Eric, Oklahoma. I just need to get a little bit of juice to get me to Amarillo. So far we traveled 1,057 miles, charging at 52 kilowatts. Our average efficiency has dropped to 4 miles per kilowatt hour because of the wind. There's a strong crosswind and that dragged our efficiency down.
Welcome to Texas.
Just got to Amarillo. It is 3:14 Central Time, Thursday, June 30th. We've arrived here with 62 miles of range left. We put on 1,177 miles so far, and we're still hanging on to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. So that's very good. Now I got to plug the car in. The next stop is Santa Rosa, New Mexico, which is 166 miles from where I'm at in Amarillo. I'll charge probably to somewhere between 80 and 90%, maybe a little bit higher depending on how long it takes me to eat. I'm gonna go get some food and walk the dog and bring the food back to the car. So whenever I get done eating, I guess we'll be leaving and heading out to Santa Rosa. Waiting for our food at Fazoli's. They're making Daddy's food, Major. Yep. While I was sitting here eating, the car charged up to 98%. We need 165 miles of range. It's showing 207. So we got more than enough. I'm going to unplug and be on my way.
Welcome to New Mexico.
Electrify America in Santa Rosa, New Mexico is located at the Loves at exit 277. Google Maps tells me to drive down to exit 275, 2 miles further, then turn around and drive 2 miles back to get to Electrify America, adding 4 miles to the trip. I don't know why it just doesn't tell me to get off at exit 277. You can see it from the interstate. Doesn't make any sense at all. Well, we made it to the Chargers in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. It is 6:05 p.m. on Thursday, Mountain Time, I'm guessing. We've put on 1,338 miles so far. We've got 55 miles left on this charge, and we're down to 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour. I'm probably going to charge the car up all the way here in Santa Rosa, and the reason for that is I don't want to stop in Albuquerque because the Walmart parking lot there where the Electrify America chargers are is a little bit on the dodgy side. So I want to make it to Grants, New Mexico, which is almost 200 miles from here, and I've got a 10-mile-per-hour headwind. I did end up charging to 100% here in Santa Rosa, so I could skip Albuquerque. It's something you really don't want to do unless you have to, because once you hit 80% it slows down and it's kind of diminishing returns. But so I was here 77 minutes and spent $16.13. But now I've got 218 miles of range, and it's only like 100... how far? 192 miles and 218 miles of range, so I should be able to make it. It is Thursday, 10:33 p.m. Mountain Time. I have made it to the charger in Grants, New Mexico with 34 miles to spare. So far I've put on 1,530 miles. Now it's time to plug in. Hey, if you hear panting while I'm talking, it's my dog. So just to let you know. These Electrify America chargers can be a little bit glitchy. This was actually the first time that I've had an issue with the chargers this trip. What happened was I plugged in the charger, swiped the app, and I waited for it to initiate, and it said charger error, please unplug. So I unplugged. So I tried it again and did the same thing, and then it said payment declined. Now, typically, if it says payment declined, the best way to get around that is to first swipe the app and then plug in. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that because it was showing that the charger was still in use, even though I had unplugged it. So what I did was I plugged it in, and well, basically, there's three ways that you can activate the charger. You can plug in and then swipe, you can swipe and then plug in, or you can use NFC. So if you have the app open, you can just touch your phone, make sure the NFC is switched on your phone, and then touch. There's a little space on the front of the charger where you can touch it, and it turns the charger on. So that's what I did the third time. I touched the NFC, and it did start the charger, but I was only getting 31 kilowatts of power. And even with my car, it should be over 50. So I unplugged, I tried it again, and again only 31 kilowatts, which would have been very slow and very time consuming. So I moved to the next charger and did it again using NFC, and immediately went up to over 50 kilowatts. So there, I think, was something wrong with that charger. So just something to be aware of. You got to deal with these things every now and then. There's something we need to talk about, and that's Electrify America's maintenance. Basically, it's not that great. Like at this station here in Grants, New Mexico, there's 4 chargers. 2 of them are out of service, and the one I couldn't get full power out of. So that's only partially working. So we've only got 1 charger that's fully operational. Now, if I'm looking at other stops along my route for tomorrow, Winslow, Arizona is one. Out of 4 chargers, it's showing only 2 of the 4 are available, and 2 of them are unavailable. Flagstaff, 1 is available, 3 are unavailable. So 1 out of 4. Now keep in mind, this is going into a holiday weekend. Williams, Arizona, west of Flagstaff, 1 out of 4 is available, 3 are unavailable. Kingman, let's see what it says. Okay, 3 are available, 1 is in use. So all 4 are operational. Now with the others that I mentioned, where I said like only 1 was available and the rest were unavailable, usually unavailable means out of service. Although the charger that I'm on right now, after I hooked up to it, it was showing unavailable rather than in use. So even looking at this app, I can't really tell you if the chargers are working or not. But I have to assume if it says unavailable that they are out of service. So that's really not very good to have 1 out of 4 chargers operational, 2 out of 4 chargers operational. 3 out of 4, okay, I can deal with that. You expect maybe 1 to be down, but 3 out of 4, they really need to step up their game and keep on top of this stuff if they want people to really adopt EVs. I am in Williams, Arizona. I made it here with about 57% state of charge. I got here about 5:30 a.m. Friday morning, July 1st. I'll probably charge all the way. If I do, I can make it to Henderson, Nevada, I think, which is about 207 miles. Really, the only thing in between here and Henderson is Kingman. And I could get to Kingman and there could be a line of people waiting to use it. So I'd like to charge all the way just to give me that edge in case it is full, then I don't have to stop. You know, if there's a line of cars waiting in Kingman, I'll just keep going to Henderson. But if there isn't, if it's not busy, I probably will put some juice in the car in Kingman. We're at 69% right now. I think I'm going to take the dog for a walk and maybe grab some breakfast. I really should get some more sleep. I don't think an hour was really enough. All right, see you later. Right here in Williams, so far we have put on 1,812 miles in almost exactly 48 hours. And the sun is coming up over Williams, Arizona. I took the dog for a walk and didn't even have time to get to McDonald's. I had to turn around and come back because it said the car was at 90% state of charge. Well, now it's at 100. So time to unplug. I'm in Kingman at the Electrify America station, Kingman, Arizona, obviously. I've got 65% charge. It's showing 177 miles of range, and I've only got 156 miles to my destination. So it's possible I could have made it, but I don't want to take any chances. So I'm going to charge for maybe 15 minutes, something like that, just to get some extra juice in the battery. And I'm going to go inside, use the restroom. There's a Smith's grocery store here, so I'm going to go inside, use the restroom, get something to drink, and then come back and be on my way, I guess. It's I should have said it's 9:21 Friday morning, and so far we've put on 1,925 miles. Okay, I've got more than enough juice to get to my destination. I've been here 16 minutes. I'm going to shut it off now. 16 minutes. I can shut it off from inside the car. There we go. Well, we made it to our destination in Nevada. It's Friday, July 1st, 12:38 p.m. Pacific time. Let's see here. We put on a total of 2,086 miles. We're averaging about 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is very good. And we've got 40 miles of range left. Yep, here we are in Nevada. We just finished. We're at the car wash. And I will have an update for you coming up as far as how many stops we made, how much time we spent charging the car, which was hours, many hours charging the car. But, you know, it's completely doable. It's just a matter of time management, really. Right? Yeah, he says yes. He agrees. All right, I'll give you an update a little bit later. I got the data from the road trip here, and I'd like to present that to you now. The trip from Ohio to Nevada It was a total of 2,086 miles or 3,357 kilometers. I left Wednesday morning about 8:45 Eastern Time and arrived in Nevada at my destination at about 12:45 um, in the afternoon on Friday. So it was a total of about 55 hours. And I wasn't trying to get here in any hurry. I'm sure I could have gotten here faster. I was driving at or below the speed limit the whole time. So it wasn't a race. And I just took my time getting here, really. The first day, though, I drove 836 miles. The second day, I drove 885 miles. And the third day, I drove 365 miles. And when I say day, those days tended to be from whatever time I started in the morning until about 2 a.m. the next morning. So I drove through the day and a little bit into the next day and then took a nap or slept or whatever. So 836, 885, and 365 miles for a total of 2,086. I did 13 charging stops the entire trip, 5 stops the first day, 6 stops the second day, and 2 stops the third day, each stop averaging just under an hour, 59.7 minutes, the longest stop being 87 minutes, and the shortest stop being 17 minutes. I spent $156.50 charging, mostly through Electrify America. I am on they have a little plan. You can pay $4 a month and you get a big discount. So I got a little discount on that. So 156.50 or 7.5 cents per mile. If you just charge at home and don't take road trips, it's much less expensive. It's probably half the price or less. But at 4.75 a gallon for gas, it was the equivalent of about 63 miles per gallon, even charging on public chargers. The reason I did this trip, oh, and I should say that all those charging stops added up to 12 hours and 46 minutes. My car charges really slowly, so if you had a faster, more expensive car, they typically charge faster, sometimes twice as fast or more. So you could have cut that 12 hours down to, who knows, 5 or 6 hours maybe for the entire trip. And plus, I wasn't really charging optimally. You really don't want to charge past 80% if you're in a hurry because once you hit 80%, the charge speed starts to taper. So you get into an area of diminishing returns as far as the amount of time you're spending and the charge rate that you're getting. But some of the times I charged actually to 100% or close to 100% so that I could skip chargers. I didn't want to be stopping at every Walmart, which is where most of these chargers are located. You really don't want to go into Walmart parking lots if you don't have to, because the people drive like idiots, basically. So avoid Walmart parking lots if you can. But the reason I made this video was to kind of dispel some of the misconceptions people have. I mean, I've read in the comments things like if you have an electric car, you can't drive more than 300 miles a day, which is ridiculous. You can't road trip in a Chevy Bolt, which is ridiculous. It's just some of these things are just outrageous, and I can't respond to all of them. So I thought if I put out a video, that's kind of my response to, to the stupid comments. So I hope you enjoyed the trip. It really wasn't a sightseeing trip. There was a little bit of sightseeing in there, but it was really just to show you, yes, you can, travel across the country in an electric vehicle, and it's pretty much painless. I mean, I think I had an issue at one charging station where I had to try it 2 or 3 times to get it to work, or I got to a station and the charger that I was using wasn't working right. It was a little bit slow, so I had to go to a different charger. But overall, out of 13 charging stops, I think 12 were completely uneventful. So it was
Thanks
was
for
pretty
watching
easy.
and thanks for coming along for the ride.